right. So welcome everybody. This is Guess the Test. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the greatest CRO game show on earth. It's an interactive game show where contestants are given a chance, or excuse me, a choice between two A/B test treatments, and they have to guess which treatment is the right one. Now you might be asking what makes this game show interactive, and that is you, the audience, right? So the audience can come in and they can help the contestants by recommending what they think is the right choice. You can comment in the chat and help these contestants out. So let's get into the intros. So my name is Anthony Wallace. For those that do not know me, I'm the founder of the Stupid Simple e-commerce blog, and I've recently went from entrepreneur to entrepreneur as I'm the CRO manager at the Shopify agency Biella. And I'm now going to pass this on over to my co-host, Deborah.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's really wonderful to see you all here today. I'm Deborah O'Malley, the founder of Guess the Test, a CRO gamified platform where you get to guess which test you think won, see if you're right. We're going to be doing a lot of that today. And when I'm not doing Guess the Test, I'm working with clients and helping bring them amazing test ideas as well. We have three incredible contestants today. We have Maier Bianchi, who has both a heart and mind for testing in e-commerce. Maier, tell us a little bit about yourself, and when I say heart and mind, maybe you can explain that a little bit.
I'm trying to guess exactly where you're coming from on that. But my name is Maier Bianchi. I'm the founder of Bemeir. We're an e-commerce and web development agency from Brooklyn, New York. We help businesses figure out their best path forward to achieving their goals using their technology and their tech stack on platforms such as Shopify. Had been, working in retail and e-com for a long time, and excited to be here today. And then maybe the heart thing is because I have I like spreading awareness about genetic heart disease in the e-commerce community, as I've had a personal journey on that front. So, thank you for calling that out, and I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And you just passed the first test, because that exactly was what I was thinking when I said heart and mind. So you get half a point for that because you're already on a roll. So amazing to have you here today. Laura Algo, returning champion. She managed to dethrone Linda Bustos, who is here today on the call, probably sitting on a bucket of tears that she has gathered up since the last time. Laura, you managed to dethrone three-time returning champion Linda, and you're here today. Tell us what your secret was.
I think finished saunas and fresh air might be one of those things, and a lot of luck as well. I also won my fiance Chris is here, so that was a bit of a surprise for me too. So I'm very excited to be here. We'll see what the game show is going to show us today. What kind of tests? I'm very, very excited. About my background, I have a long background in marketing actually, but I've been in CRO for a few years now, and mostly focused on CRO research and UX design, everything that can make user journey better. And if I could, I would eat user insights for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah.
Tasty and delicious and insightful as well. So Linda is saying that they were tiger tears. Perhaps you could eat some tiger tears as well for breakfast.
Sure.
Good luck to you today. I'm very excited to see if you can keep your title and be a two-time returning champion. And I know your partner, Chris Marsh, is here cheering you on. So you have a special cheering squad, which should make you feel good and hopefully bring you some of that extra luck. And Tyler Mabery, you are a pizza lover, first and foremost, and secondly, an e-commerce lover. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
That is my main role, is a pizza tester. But on the side, I do CRO as well. I've been doing CRO for around 8 years, started on the agency side. I'm now in-house at LaserAway, where I run the experimentation program there. So aesthetic dermatology company, we test just about everything. And yeah, before that was just on the agency side, worked with over 200 clients and thousands of experiments. So been doing it for a little bit.
So you have a good experience into what works and what doesn't work with testing, and we're going to see if you can bring
We'll
that
see.
into the game show today. Now, Tyler also has a cheering squad with him. He has his wife and apparently his daughter as well. So a big shout out to them. Thank you for joining us. And Tyler, I'm going to give your daughter an idea here and let her know that my kids convinced me all the time to get different types of pizza by saying, but Mom, we can A/B test it. We can get a square pizza and a round pizza and A/B test it. And when I hear that, I go, okay, well, if you put it that way, then of course we can A/B test it. So
Sold.
there you go. All right, well, welcome to all our contestants and a huge welcome to our cheering squad and our audience that's here today. Audience, this is going to be interactive, so we want to get your input, your thoughts, and I'd love to start just by hearing where you're calling in from today. If you're in the hot East Coast, as me, Maier, and Anthony definitely are, or if you're in the cooler side of the world on the west, in Oregon, where Tyler is, or somewhere else, maybe like Finland, where Laura is, let us know where you're calling in from today. And a big welcome to you all.
Yes. So the rules of the game, there are 3 rounds where the contestants will guess which variant of an A/B test won. Each round will have well, we're not going to do the time limits anymore, so we can skip that part. But there will be a point total for each guess that is correct, right? So round 1, you will get 5 points. Round 2, you get 8 points. Round 3, you get 12 points. And there is a a skill test question that we will have in there. And then if we need to, we will have double overtime. And so the winner will move on to the next episode to play 2 new contestants.
All right, so we have a theme for each of the game shows, and this time the theme is manage your image. So we're going to be looking entirely at tests dealing with images. And this theme was chosen because it really can go either way. It's truly a toss-up, 50-50, and you're going to need to manage your image to see if you can be the winner. So how does that sound? All right,
Sounds
so we're going to
good.
get into it.
Sounds good.
Our first test it asks the question, when you're designing an email creative and you want to send it out and you want to get people to open your email and click your email and register for the offer, should you go with creative imagery or should you use conventional imagery? So in this case, the question was karate pro or professional. And so this is an email creative that was sent out. As you can see here on the left, version A, the imagery was actually these 2 guys here, but in their karate suits and their karate outfits. Version B, exact same content, but the image creative up top here featured the guys in a much, much different perspective and sort of frame as professionals rather than karate pros. Now, this was for a company, Otron Dental Academy, and they're a Spanish dental service provider, and they provide courses to dentists trying to inform them on the latest dental practice. So in this email creative, they were trying to increase course registrations, and it was sent to all email traffic, primarily Spanish dentists, and most of these dentists were running their own dental clinic. And so they wanted to see which email creative won in terms of getting people to sign up for the dental course. Version A, featuring the Karate Pros, or version B, the Karate Kids. So I would like you contestants to go ahead and lock in your votes by sending me a direct message in the chat channel. So version A, the Karate Pros, or version B, the Professionals. And I see Laura has locked in her vote. And Maier and Tyler, we are waiting for you. Tyler is now locked in his vote, and I see Maier is struggling back and forth. He's thinking about it. He's a lot of tension, a lot of intrepidation here. He feels the
It's
pressure.
stressful.
He needs to get the right answer. It is stressful. And Maier, you're at a disadvantage because you don't have the cheering squad. Laura and Tyler are, maybe somebody's whispering in their ear.
Maybe. Yeah. At least not on the Zoom, that's for sure.
All right, Maier, you've locked in your vote. Fantastic. So before we take it to you contestants, I want to hear from the audience and I want to know what they think. So Anastasia, I'm going to go to you. You can either turn on your microphone and your camera, or you can type in the chat. Which are you going to guess and why? Anastasia.
I'm going with karate.
Karate. Okay.
Because of the unusual nature of the images. They're
Right.
eye-catching.
Okay, so it caught your attention and you're like, oh, this is different.
It's different.
I'm intrigued to click on it.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Good answer. Chris, what were your thoughts? Chris Marsh?
I'm thinking B, because
B.
it's professional and it's more clear because it's not about karate. If I'm
Okay.
following.
Who's this
correctly.
guy? Where are you
Yeah.
from?
Hey, from Finland now, based previously UK.
Oh, nice. So you're here supporting Laura.
Yeah. Don't worry though, we're in different rooms and nothing funny going on.
All right, so just a bit of background. Chris and Laura were actually on the same game show in the last edition. Laura managed to just eke out and beat Chris by 1 point in the very final round, but I think we went into triple overtime. And so I learned from that, never have a couple that's in synergy on the same game show because they'll just guess the same answer the entire time, which is exactly what happened. But interestingly enough, now that Laura's on her own and Chris is supposedly in another room, they guessed differently. So Laura, you guessed version A. Tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, well, I think the karate images are just more fun. They bring out the fun in dentistry, if there is any fun in dentistry.
When you get your teeth
and
pulled,
my,
maybe?
yeah, and kind of that's what I was going with. Intuition, basically.
Okay, so fun, creative, eye-catching. Tyler, you completely disagree. You went with version B. What was your thinking?
Yeah, Chris and I were chatting on the side here, so I decided to go with B.
So
No,
he
kidding.
maybe swayed you in the wrong direction.
No, I feel like if we were selling karate, maybe the karate imagery, I feel like, there's kind of a disconnect with dentistry and karate unless they went with like, we can knock your teeth out and fix them for you or something like that type of
All at the
message.
same time.
Yeah, so there's like colored images, they're a little more professional. I feel like, I don't know, if you're going to a dentist, people might not be reading all the content there too. So yeah, I went with B.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went with A because you could go first, Linda. Sorry if I just jumped right into it. I wanted to keep the debate flowing.
No, go ahead. You're all good,
man. So A, because the uniqueness, more eye-catching, like action in the photo, and then the whole goal was like Mortal Kombat, like two materials for dentistry versus each other. So maybe some background dentistry knowledge helped me on this one. I don't know, but that was where it just represented combat more and the goal of the competition versus if the audience is not familiar with the two gentlemen, then the contrast between the two photos might not mean as much. And B, and I was under the gun but then I was reverse thinking because it's professionals and it's aimed at a professional audience, maybe the more professional photos. So I had a really down to the wire decision, but ultimately I chose A because I just felt like it would be more eye-catching.
Yeah, okay. So all good thinking, all good rationale. You all had very compelling answers, and if I was putting money on it, I'd believe both of you, but only some of you are right and some of you are wrong. So Anthony, why don't we cue up the music and we're going to do the great reveal. Dun, dun, dun.
My music isn't working.
Oh no. Okay, we're going to have to make our own. Who can beatbox here?
Here we go.
There we go. All right, and the big reveal is version. Hey!
Dang, that was my second choice.
That was Tyler's
that was my second choice. That's a good one.
So well done, congrats to version A guessers. So not only did this lift registrations, it lifted at 136%. And as a result, the 300 course seats sold, 300 seats were sold for the course months before the event. So it was a sell-it event months beforehand. The test achieved statistical significance at 99% confidence, but it was based on a smaller sample of about 6,000 email recipients. So we'll have to take the results with a bit of grain of salt because of that large lift. It does kind of maybe perk your eyebrows a little bit and say, oh, that seems like an awfully large lift, but it definitely provides directional data that the creative was indeed the way to go. So what does this tell us? Well, first of all, the right image that you choose can seriously kick some butt. So make sure you're testing your images. And if you get nothing else out of today's talk show and the game show, make sure you test your images is the point I want to absolutely hammer home, because really, truly, the images can make a difference. So choosing one image over the other is the ultimate battle, especially if you're working with a designer that arbitrarily chooses images or doesn't agree with your suggestions. And you can take calculated risk and reduce that risk by testing. In this case, why did it win? It's hard to say for sure. Likely, as you guys already said, just that more creative imagery, it caught attention. It really kind of got you thinking. Maybe people read the text more as a result and felt more intrigued. The headshot images, they were nothing compelling, nothing special. So people might have glossed over it a little bit. But when you're using images, make sure to test. And just as a sort of tip for that, most of the time people prefer real images over stock footage. So when you have the opportunity to use real images, definitely do that. But always, always test. Any final thoughts or comments?
Stock footage people were once real before they became stock footage. That was it.
That is true. That is true. But there's actually been eye tracking studies done, and we're going to look at that shortly, that show that people will kind of gloss over stock footage and they pay attention.
Yeah, I wonder what the signal is. Like, this is stock footage. Like the instant dismissal, like where that crux of dismissal is would be interesting.
Yeah, I think when it just looks too fake,
generic.
Yeah. Like here, like this looks like stock footage, in my opinion, but
exactly,
this does not look like stock footage. It's not as pristine. So stock footage has that kind of glossy, pristine, really high quality, high def kind of
like surreal lighting almost too. Like this isn't a normal. My last dentist appointment wasn't that dramatic, like that kind of thing. Yeah.
I didn't get my teeth knocked out of me. Yeah, staged, I think, is a really good way of putting it. So always be testing your images. That's the key takeaway for this test and the other two that we're going to look at right now. So tell us how we're doing with point totals, Anthony.
Listen, Maier, he was very nervous in the beginning, but he's already tied up with LaserAway with 5 points. Tyler, he still has a chance to catch up. There's a whole lot of chances to catch up. Do not worry. This is just the first round. Believe me, Linda will tell you herself that she went through this phase before and then won in the end. So it has just wait until the end, and then that will determine who the winner is.
That's very true. And Linda, if you caught that, I see you just locked back on, and I'm very happy to see that, because I thought maybe we really offended you by talking about your dethroning and your tiger tears, but I'm glad to see you're back. And we were just saying, firsthand, the game can really sway and change depending on, how the next two guesses are done. All right, so we know that the right imagery can kick butt, but the question is, should you go with a fun face or face photos? And we want to know which landing page design won. So here we have a test for a landing page for an online gaming site called Cheeky Bingo. And in this study here, we have kind of like a cartoon-like image with a large CTA button saying join for free. The text below is the same as on the other variant. You can join, play free, and win for real. In variant B, we have a similar creative, but as you can see, it is quite different. And the primary difference is that we have pictures of real people here who are winners, who played bingo and have won. And so the goal of this study was to get new registrations, people who hadn't joined Cheeky Bingo yet before, and get them to sign up to play online bingo, not only to sign up, but also to deposit money so that they could actually play and start to win some money. And they wanted to increase the number of people signing up and putting a deposit for Cheeky Bingo, an online gaming site. So, contestants, I would like you to cast your cheeky vote and guess version A with the cartoon-like image or version B, the actual people pictures. So we talked about stock footage and real footage, and now this sort of extrapolates and goes another direction, cartoon footage or real people. Which version do you think wins?
This one is
So
really
I see,
hurting.
what's that? It's really
I
what?
said this one really hurts because there's like more differences than just the photos, so it's making me
It's true.
second guess
It's a
myself.
radical redesign.
There's colors, there's content, there's background. It's so different. So I'm like, does the photo do it or is it something else? You know, like
There's
Absolutely.
also that no thanks button too. That's there.
Mhm. You're totally right. So it may not just be, the people pictures. It may be a whole bunch of factors, but overall, which design do you think was more compelling?
I would
Which do you
appreciate
think
if the
won?
audience could refrain from answering before we lock in our answers, but that just makes it even harder.
That's part of the point. It's groupthink. So now you have to, is Haley right or is Laura right
Yeah,
or
the audience
is
is
Linda
split.
right?
So
This
All
is
right,
rough.
so Tyler has locked in his answer, Laura has locked in hers, and Maier, it's all up to you, bud.
Shaking my head, man.
And
Yeah, I'm at war with myself.
okay, okay, all right. So Maier has locked in his vote. All right, so we have, a bit of discrepancy here as well. Haley, you're cheering on Tyler, and you guessed the same answer as Tyler, version B. Do you want to tell us your thinking? You can turn on your microphone and your camera if you'd like, or just your microphone, or put in the chat if you prefer. And it sounds like Sailor, is that your daughter, Tyler?
yeah,
Sailor says version B too. So even a toddler can play this game show. And either Sailor or Haley, if you want to, turn on your microphone, you can tell us what you're thinking. But if you're shy, I understand. Okay, Haley is saying she just thinks it looks more visually appealing. So, easier to take in the colors, the layouts maybe a little bit better. This background is nice, looks more visually appealing. All right, let's see. I'm trying to find somebody who guessed version A. Linda, you guessed version A. What were you thinking? You can turn on your microphone and
I'm gonna unmute myself, I guess.
go for it.
Just, call to action visibility. I think there's like just so much going on version B. It sort of gives me MySpace 2009 vibes. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what the answer is.
Yeah, the funny thing is this test isn't that old, but it looks like MySpace 2009 vibes. I was telling the contestants beforehand, all the tests that are featured today on the game show are not published on Guess the Test for one reason or another. And this one is not published because I got it, let's call it 6 months ago. And I looked at it, I can't publish this test. It looks like it was done like, before the internet even came into being. So it looks very old. I absolutely agree. But you think the call to action button is the primary factor swaying people here. It's not so much even the imagery, it's just that very big, bold, prominent call to action button. Is that right?
Well, it's hard because there's things about version B that I think help it, like the pictures, makes it more relatable, but there's two calls to action. You have to really decipher what the heck's going on. Both of them, you have to think hard. So not a fan of either of them, but I think the clear call to action I have nothing to lose, so I'm going with A.
There you go.
I voted A also.
Okay, so Maier, tell us why.
Well, first of all, I was unduly influenced by the audience. I meant that comment before. Like I saw Haley with the B, Linda with the A, so then my mind was infected. And then somebody mentioned the button, which swayed me. So visually appealing is B. Definitely like, this could be you. That's a very compelling argument, and that works on people. But then the two buttons and the other things might be an issue, and the other one is like stupid enough that it might convince more of the type of people who would do this. No offense, because like we all have our vices or things that we do that are irrational, and some of them are more consequential than others. So I'm not hating on it, but just something about A feels like it would be ironic if that was the also because it's so in your face, so outrageous that it might just work.
Okay, so I hear you saying you're swayed by groupthink, which is great, and also just it's a little bit more compelling. Now, Laura, returning champion, you're in agreement with Linda, who also guessed version A, and with Maier, who guessed version A. What were you thinking?
Several different things. First of all, I think the A looks just more familiar for the type of game. I don't play these cheeky bingo type of games myself, but I've seen them online, and they always have this kind of like a cartoon character rather than, but not always. Obviously, I haven't done any deep research on it. Plus, I was looking at the list of items, the list of benefits you'll get when you join in the big CTA, as Linda said. Just and the benefit of getting like £10 free for some kind of deposit, which is big and loud on the version A rather than somewhere, or not even on the version B anywhere. So it's just thinking about the benefits that the users will get from it. But on the B, the images are good too, showing that actual real people play Cheeky Bingo, and that you can download it on your device as well, which is not on the version A. So it could go either way. It's a tricky one, real tricky one.
Okay, it is indeed tricky. And Tyler, you're bucking the trend. You're going against what Maier and Laura said.
I got to come back, right? So I would say, this one is a toss up for sure. Version A, the big join for free. There's less paradox of choice, right? The version B has the app. It's got no thanks. It's got get $10 free. So there's a lot more choices on the B side. I feel like, are people going to read every piece of content? When I signed up for Cheeky Bingo, I signed up with the B variant. So no, I didn't. Actually, it did not get sign up for this website.
What does everyone think?
I was sweating here. Like, oh.
What does everyone think of the App Store logos? Does that have an influence? Because you're using the familiarity of Google and Apple, of Android and Apple to build trust.
Yeah, that's that could be another thing. I feel like it's a little simpler. But and then the benefits showcase, there's some social proof with like kind of low quality photos. They all look real. It's not stock photo-y. It shows the potential winnings that people can get. So I think that might be more compelling. So that's why I went with B. But it was a close
compelling
one.
Reasons, and I actually hear Maier is kind of going towards the dark side here, and thinking maybe the trust symbols of the recognizable logos might make a difference. Do you want to change your vote, Maier, for a penalty? No, you're gonna stay with A.
This is really intense.
Right.
Yeah.
These, I'm not sure if they're clickable or not. The App Store logos, I imagine they are, but I'm not totally sure. But
so.
There's definitely kind of more sort of entry points into this. However, the KPI that we are looking at is signups and registrations, and also money deposits. So whether people click to download the app, wouldn't really, I mean, it could take them away from the KPI of this test, but it wouldn't really affect the test results. So, some of you are right, some of you are wrong. It really could go 50-50. Anthony, should we do the big reveal?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, and the answer is, if you can stand the tension and the stress, version B.
Let's go.
Well done. So Tyler was the only one to get this out of the contestants. Good job, Tyler. 31% lift in registrations with deposits. This was targeted at new visitors. So as a result, there was a strong, that should have a 93% drop in existing member logins. So they really effectively were able to target new visitors. Test results were 95% statistical significance, but we don't know the sample size. So do take results with a grain of salt. But what this shows us is that, you know, by and large, pictures of real people can be more relatable. And Maier, here's the eye tracking study that I was referencing. This is by Nielsen Norman Group, and I can share the link with people if they like. But basically what it says is that real pictures, and this is based on eye tracking results where they scan the gaze and the movement of the eyes, increase engagement. And people perceive these images as more trustworthy because they're realistic. So, you know, avoiding stock photos or cartoon-like photos often is the way to go. Now, it can't always be done, and it's not always the right choice, but it's something you definitely want to test. So the face, we know from research, is a really important touch point. People are drawn towards the eyes and the faces, and people look at eyes and faces and kind of try to read those visual cues. And so when we see the real faces here, it draws us in a little bit, and it establishes a little bit more of a sense of trust, I think, is what's going on. And just as a, you know, interesting note, we can use faces and a direction of eye gaze to actually direct people towards the key CTAs, because people will look at the face and the eyes and then look towards the key CTA. So just as an example here, I'm going to bring in this LinkedIn poster that I created. I actually flipped Maier's picture here so that his head was facing this way and people would look towards his name. In, you know, his regular profile picture on LinkedIn, it was the other way around, but this way the eyes kind of follow his gaze towards his name. So that's a visual cue, bringing people to look at the key information or key CTAs. So these are things to keep in mind. Always be testing, though, is really the final thesis of this test. Any thoughts or comments?
Never,
I'm gonna
Oh, well
steal
done,
that design.
Tyler.
never
actually, and
underestimate the
start
power
testing
of the
that.
faces. Because, like, if I think back to the intuition of when I first saw it, my mind probably went to B. So I psyched myself out of it.
Well, I've heard never trust your gut, and then Laura is saying go with your gut because that's what makes you win. So somewhere in between one of those things. Tyler,
Well,
you
I
have
was
a,
wrong, wasn't I?
you
I
were
picked
wrong
the
this
wrong
time.
one with my gut was
Yes,
wrong.
yes.
Yeah, so not always maybe go with your gut. And well done, Tyler. It was a really tricky one.
That was
And
tough.
Tyler, your cheering squad is saying, let's go. So well
Let's
done.
go.
Yes.
I mean, Sailor
Yes.
picked B, so she's 2.5 years old. She's ready to start
wow.
her CRO
Oh.
career now.
Good for you, Sailor. Well done. My daughter, she likes to do the guess the test, and she has an outstanding track record. She just turned 11, but at 10 years old, she had a better track record than almost all the guess the test subscribers. So there's something to be said about smart children, child prodigy. So well
There you
done.
go.
All right. So where do we stand with points?
As I said before, Tyler, it's anybody's game, bro. The ties can swing at any point. So Maier and Laura are still tied with 5, but Tyler he's out in front now with 8 points.
All right, well done. Okay, so another image picture. This time we're talking celebrity balls or boats and beaches. Beaches. It's nice and hot here. We're thinking about beaches, and we want to know which image won. So here, does anyone recognize this person?
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw, famous football player, a past football player, and he's holding a football here. And here we have a very appealing scene of a beach, looks nice and relaxing with lots of boats in the background. And so the question is, which image won? And the idea was to get more people redeeming points for the Ferguson Pro Plus loyalty program. They wanted people clicking on this button here and redeeming points. And it was kind of a banner ad on the website to encourage people to redeem their loyalty points and take advantage of the loyalty points program. So this was all traffic, but these were people specifically who had existing loyalty programs and points, and they wanted those program members to redeem their points. It was done for Ferguson Enterprises, which is a large plumbing wholesaler and HVAC distributor. So which version won, Terry with his ball or the beaches and boats image?
We know anything about the demographics here? I see plumbing, HVAC, wholesaler, but
Yeah, so, oh, geez, hopefully you didn't just see that. What we know is that
yes.
they were
Must have rewinded on YouTube. No.
they were existing loyalty program members. We don't have the exact demographics, but we know that, if we can think of kind of like a plumber demographic and HVAC demographic, I'm going to slot them in about the 35 to 55 age range. These are, probably largely men, guys that like to go out and drink beer on the weekends. They're probably into football, but I imagine they also like a good beach scene and relaxing on the beach as well. Maybe after their victory win on Guess the Test.
Yeah.
So the average kind of, what I would say, likely sort of blue collar worker type people, and people who are into HVAC plumbing as a profession.
Yeah, but these
So-
are
I don't know.
tradesmen. These aren't blue. You're blue
Tradesmen.
collar, but you're not. You're spending money.
You're spending money, you probably have some kind of education, and you probably like to go away on vacation, and that's why you're going to redeem points. But what appeals to you more?
Yeah, but
A
what is
picture of,
is it an experience hanging out with Terry Bradshaw? Like, is it the Super Bowl tickets? That's what I'm. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
that
good
was my
question.
question. Can they redeem points? Is it just for vacations?
I'd have to go on the website to see, and I'm not exactly sure what they could redeem points for, but sort of if you're like maybe like a loyalty member of some kind of platform, usually you can redeem it for travel, vacations, usually sports events, sometimes plane tickets, that kind of thing. So let's say hypothetically it encompasses all of this, but that is a good question. So we have Tyler, he's locked in. And Maier and Laura, you both need to lock in. All right, so Laura and Tyler have both locked in. All right, and audience, before we go to our contestants, I'd love to hear what you think. Version A or version B? Which imagery gets people to redeem their points?
Feel so
All right, and
conflicted.
I'm just pulling
Not
this up
happy with
now.
myself.
What is Ferguson Pro Plus? So event tickets, travel, and reward redemptions, consumer goods. So this is, a fairly standard, broad, overarching points program. All right, so I'm hearing Chris say version 8. Chris, tell us your thinking.
Just that B might look like a random ad from a network that's not related to the site because of the image.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not contextually relevant.
Yeah. That was my main reason, but also the CTA kind of, my ways are drawn more to the CTA on A compared to on B. The CTA is a bit more lost, the button.
Okay, so more visual clutter. The background here is a little clearer. You're sort of drawn to it more. Chris, these are great thoughts, but Linda, you completely disagree. You say, B better have my money. Show me my money. Linda, how come version B? My money. Linda, how come version B?
Because on the A, I mean, I kind of associate the man with the my points. Like, is it his points? And is the prize of football? I think that the beach and the vacation is like aspirational, as someone mentioned there, Anastasia. Yeah, I agree. It makes me think that my points might get me there, which is funner than holding a football.
Yeah, I want to explode because I'm at war with myself because everything she said was both true. And like Terry Bradshaw is a one of the most recognizable faces probably in America with it if you watch football, which a lot of people do or have seen him in commercials. And the other thing is like he's an old guy smiling. If that's your target demo as a 50-year-old contractor, you know, like it might resonate with the audience. But I chose B because B is where you might want to be or use your points to get. But yeah, I'm it's very trouble. This game show is really
we're causing Maier a lot of stress here.
You stressed out over there, man.
good. It's
Sorry.
good stuff. It means it's fun.
I mean, if you win, it will be less stressful, and you have a very good chance at this point. All right, so Maier has a really compelling argument. It echoes based on what Linda said, was just it's aspirational. It gets you there. You can imagine yourself in that scene. But Laura and Tyler, you both said, no, it's A. Tyler, what were you thinking?
I think kind of going back to the last test, faces kind of draw your attention. So, you know, it's Terry Bradshaw, it's a celebrity endorsement there. So it adds a level of credibility. We were talking about potentially being able to redeem points for more than, you know, just vacations. So it's the other one also just kind of feels stock photo-y kind of, you know, I agree with what Chris was saying. It, you know, I would probably just scan over that and not even recognize it because it just looks like, you know, any other banner ad. So yeah, that's why I went with A.
All good points. Very compelling reasoning. And Laura, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. This is the first time me and Chris are guessing the same version. Last time we guessed the same all the time. I don't follow football. 5 minutes ago I had no idea who Terry Bradshaw was or is. But I think that I agree with Tyler's reasoning of the person on the photo rather than a random scenery. And not everyone is into, what is it, kayaking? Like not everyone is into that. Whereas I've heard that football is a big thing in the US.
Everyone's
And
into football.
yeah, and it kind of relates into points, don't they? Have some kind of point system in football as well.
That's a good point.
Good point.
So yeah,
Good point.
Football
Okay.
is America's biggest sport.
yeah,
There you
I've
go.
heard, yeah.
And Anthony's the sports guy, so he knows
Anthony's
that
got
for
a Cowboys hat on, right? I got a Raider cup. Can't see it,
I
so.
have a Cowboys hat on, like I'm a big Cowboys fan.
For a small sample size, we got at least 2 football fans here.
Nice. And then you have the Canadian contingent of the sample size. Me and Linda both didn't know who Terry Bradshaw was initially. But Maier is kind of standing up. He's got our back. He's saying, just think of it like Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky, the
There you
hockey
go.
player.
He's definitely not on the level of Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky is the greatest of all time, but I meant recognizable face to sell plumbing.
Right. Okay, there you go. There you go. So I think these are amazing arguments. One of you is right and one of you is wrong, or a couple of you are right and a couple of you are wrong. I do want to say though, just one last thing. Tyler, you brought up a really interesting point, and we've been saying, you know, this whole game show, people look at faces, people connect with faces, use real imagery, don't use stock photos. This banner ad meets all that criteria. But as Linda pointed out, eye tracking studies show that when somebody's looking directly at you, the eyes of the user tend to focus directly on that image. And unless there's a gaze and a directional cue down to the CTA button, that gaze may kind of lock you in, and you may not do anything with it because, you know, you don't really have a visual or directional cue to go somewhere. So I just want to, you know, take that in. We don't we would have to actually conduct an eye tracking study to look and see, and we don't have the heat mapping data for that. But I imagine if we did sort of a gaze plot, the face would get the most like dwell time, it's called, like people looking at it, and then it would go down to the ball. And I imagine the redeem my points would be the third least looked at element of the page. Now, I don't have the directional data for that, so I can't say for sure, but that would be my guess, that the face looking at you like this locks people in. Whereas in a banner like this, while you may look at the face, because the eyes kind of lead you this way, there's a directional cue to also explore the rest of the imagery.
What about
So,
my picture on that though? Where are my eyes?
so
Everybody.
I would say that having the sunglasses, and it would be an interesting test for you, Tyler, to have a LinkedIn profile with and without sunglasses and see if you get more engagement. I would say the sunglasses is probably going to be a cue that makes people think you're a little bit less accessible. And I'm not trying to be offensive or mean. I'm just saying from an eye tracking standpoint, we connect with the eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul, and they let people in. And so having the sunglasses doesn't allow people to have access to you. And there's actually a really interesting study on Guess the Test that we looked at. It's with a happy captain smiling and a serious captain with sunglasses. And I can just pull that up really, really quickly. We're getting off topic here, but just so you can see it. And it's interesting to test these kinds of things and see, does one image make a difference in terms of the way that people perceive and the way that, the model is presented.
Wow.
You also
So
look, Terry Bradshaw's eyes are like wincing too. Like you really can't see his eyes. Like he's looking at
it's
you,
true,
but it's hard to even
right?
that those like you don't know exactly where he's looking.
True, very true. So all these factors come into play. There is one right answer and there's one wrong answer, and some of you got the right answer. So, Anthony, should we do the big reveal?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go. The answer is version B. So well done. Congratulations.
Press still. This is too much.
The version B indeed a 40.6% lift in click-through rate to the redeem my points, and a 58.2% lift in people actually redeeming their points once they got into the redeem my points section. So getting them to, have that kind of visual allure, oh, I want to put myself in this situation, got them to then click into redeeming their points. This was based on a statistically significant effect. I think that should be 98%, and about 27,000 visitors. So what does this show us? Well, it shows us that really we need to test images because you can be so divided on the way that you think an image is going to have a psychological effect on people. And so we need to test to know for sure. But with that we need to be using images to help entice people and let them imagine themselves in the scenario. So whether it's a banner ad or a thumbnail image, it's a crucial component of conversions. And the right impact, it doesn't just impact engagement from like a click-through rate, it can have a trickle-down effect all the way through the funnel to something like points redemption. And that's because it captures them, it grabs attention. And if we think of a funnel, it goes attention, interest, desire, action. So people will take action once we've gotten their attention. I believe that we can extract from this that the right image makes something relatable and it evokes a sense of desire. And so people can kind of imagine themselves in the situation. And, with this image here, even if you don't like boating, it looks like an enticing place to be. You can imagine yourself in that beach scene. Whereas this is a lot more abstract. You can't really imagine as much or as easily the benefit of it. But Tyler, you brought up some really, really great points that, it's a face, it's a person, it's somebody that's recognizable, it's an authority figure. So those things all stand very strong. And so this is exactly why we test, because we don't always know what will win. But if you can have images that make users feel a sense of familiarity and feel like they can be part of the scene that resonates and they can relate to it, then that often is the right image to use. But always test.
And
Thoughts, comments?
yeah, about the whole the thing you said about the face distracting, some like taking the focus, that made sense when looking at it, like meaning like why B, like because B is more barren of a photo, like even though there's stuff in it visually, there's nothing in that like middle part besides the color red that catches your eye as much. But then like you're right, your eye does end up on the redeem more, I guess, like when staring at it, versus you are naturally maybe wasting 50% of your gaze on Terry. So maybe that has to do with distraction or something like that too.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. It would be interesting to do like an eye tracking or heat mapping study on this and see how people are interacting with this. But I think that's probably absolutely true. There's your eye goes here to the brightest and most colorful spot, and then it looks for the next sort of point of reference, which is the bright, colorful green call to action button. Whereas here, there's probably that additional step. Face, you get locked into the face, then maybe you go down to the ball, and then the third, you hopefully click the CTA button, but there's that extra step and you may just kind of become fixated on the face. So thinking of all these things when you're choosing your image and deciding even what images to test, because even if we choose an image, we still want to test all those images.
Those are great points. I'm going to change my answer actually to
Well, Tyler, you can't do that, but
Look at this. All right. We have the very stressed Maier in the lead right now with 17 points. We have Laura's with 5.
Didn't Laura say B also? I thought, never mind. She didn't. Sorry.
I thought Laura said A.
Okay.
And Tyler with 8 points. So this is where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I'm just confirming Laura did say A. I have it in the message thread here.
Damn. All right.
So Tyler, even though you only have 8 points, and Laura, even though you only have 5, you still have a chance to encroach and beat Maier because we have a skill testing question coming up, and this can swing the game. So this is testing your CRO, your A/B testing, and your stats knowledge all at once. Are you up for the challenge?
No Google searching either.
No Google searching, yes. And partners, no whispering the answer. All right, in A/B testing, what does a 5% false positive rate indicate? And this is multiple choice, so you just have to guess the right answer if you don't know the answer. A, there's a 5% chance the null hypothesis is true. B, there's a 5% chance of failing to reject the null hypothesis when it's actually true. C, there's a 5% chance of incorrectly rejecting the null hypothesis when it is actually true. Or D, there's a 5% chance the alternative hypothesis is false. Now, that's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo if you're not sure what a null hypothesis is or failing to reject the null hypothesis. So a null hypothesis is the basic scientific tenet. It states that there is no conversion difference between the control, usually version A, and the treatment, usually version B. So it states there's no difference. One version is not advantageous over the other. And a false positive is basically when we get a result that says, yeah, there's a conversion difference, when actually in reality, there's not. So that gives you a little bit of, introduction into the lingo. And I would like to know from you, what answer is correct? A, B, C, or D? Which version wins? And I see Maier has locked in his vote.
Even though I locked in, when you say when it is actually true, meaning when it actually is a null hypothesis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where street smarts meets book smarts, and I have no formal education in this.
It's tricky. It's tricky. All right. So Maier has chosen his answer. Tyler has chosen his answer, and Laura, it's all on you. The entire game is riding on you. No pressure. No pressure at all.
My brain is in lockdown at the moment.
And Tyler, if you want to have your 2.5-year-old cast a vote instead of you, you're welcome to. All right. So Laura, pressure is on. Laura has chosen her answer. All right, so there's only one answer here. We don't need to discuss the rationales because there's a right answer, a wrong answer. I will let you know that Maier and Laura have chosen the same answer, and Tyler, you're off on a limb and you've chosen a different answer.
Again.
One of you or two of you are right.
Or 3 of you.
Or 3 of you, but you've chosen different answers. So. All right, Anthony, let's cue the music and do the big reveal. This is the game swaying question.
Yeah, I read it wrong. Yeah. I totally read it wrong.
All right, the answer is Version C.
It's gonna be C. I wrote B, but the letter.
So,
Yeah, me too.
Darn it.
Tyler,
That was tough.
congratulations, you got it.
The
So
B
version
threw me
C,
off
there's
too.
a 5% chance, and the B was tricky. Of incorrectly rejecting the null hypothesis when it actually is true. So
Yeah,
as
that's what I
said,
wanted. Yeah.
null hypothesis assumes there's no difference. A false positive, also known as a type 1 error, means there's no actual difference. And experimenters set usually a false positive rate at 0.05 or 5%. And that means that we accept a 5% chance the test result is actually going to be show a statistically significant difference when it's really not there. And so we put these parameters in place to ensure that our data is as accurate as possible. So we sort of have a 5% window at which we're willing to accept that. Tyler, you got it. Congratulations. What is it, a good guess, or did you know?
You know, I was going toward B, and as I read it more, it was like the double negative in there. It just made me think of C. So
Nice.
Because
Congratulations.
when you explained exactly what null hypothesis was, it's like I knew what the right answer was based on what you were saying, but then the phrasing of B versus C, I guess I didn't. Yeah.
All in the phrasing.
Yeah.
Laura,
It
what was your answer? If you don't mind me asking.
B as well. Yeah, it was tough. I felt the pressure. So like everything looked the same for some when I was choosing. So yeah. Oh, well done, Tyler.
Yeah, like I was happy that I didn't guess, but I guess like meaning like I was confident what this meant, but did not choose the right one.
The wording was very tricky. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And under the pressure of being
Heartbroken.
live on a game show, I totally understand. So this puts us where, Anthony?
So this puts it at a point total where Tyler is in a 1-point lead over Maier with 18 points. Maier has 17 and Laura is still with 5.
Okay, all right. And so that, Tyler, makes you the winner. Congratulations. Well done. You pulled out 1 point ahead.
the comeback.
Maier.
1 point.
The comeback is real.
Heartbroken.
I told you
Fourth
guys,
quarter
man.
came back.
It all comes down to the final. Like all the other questions. I mean, it matters, but you got to get to the end, and then you will see exactly who the winner
Terry
is.
Bradshaw hit me in stride for the game-winning touchdown.
There you go.
There you go. One-handed catch. Congratulations, Tyler. So we don't need to go into the double lightning overtime round because Tyler, you pulled ahead with 1 point. So congratulations on that. That makes you the winner of a whole bunch of amazing prizes. You get a complimentary pro membership to Guess the Test, where you can mine the tests that are on there and use it to prepare for future game shows. Tyler says we're all going to Disneyland, so Tyler, take me with you, please, because I'll accept that as a prize. You get a level 1 certification from Automate to Win, which is Sean David's automation company, and you can receive the certification. I'll connect you with him. And then Tyler, you actually get a choice here because I know you're a pizza lover. So you can either get my delicious homemade fudge mailed to you. Linda has sampled it many times with her wins, and she says it's 5-star fudge. People do say it's the most delicious fudge they've ever had. Or if you prefer, I know you're a pizza lover, I'm happy to get you a pizza ordered tonight if you want, or anytime you want for dinner, lunch, and you can choose your favorite pizza place and I'll get it sent to you. So your choice, pizza or fudge, A or B. And you can choose. And I see Haley is saying pizza, pizza, pizza.
Hey.
Maybe you can even A/B test the pizza.
Beautiful.
My pick right now?
You can think about it. I'll give you a little bit of time to think
Okay,
about it.
cool.
Although I do like Maier's solution of a pizza fudge. That's
When you say it
amazing.
out loud,
I
it
recently
sounds like a
got
piece
my
of
husband
fudge. There
some
you go.
pizza gummies for Father's Day. So, you never know. We can get creative here. But yeah, I'll let you think about that. To our game show contestants, Laura, you had a really good run, so congratulations. Well done. And Maier, you were so close. So close. 1 point. 1 point and a whole lot of stress, but you did
I was good.
amazing.
You still look very stressed
Great
out.
game. It felt, it was a great show.
So congratulations. And Tyler, well done. You are the winner by 1 point, but that 1 point makes all the difference. We're going to be on summer break for July, August, and in the fall, we have a new format coming up. that Anthony and I just discussed. So stay tuned for that. More info coming out over the summer. But for now, I want to say a big thanks to all our contestants and a huge thanks to our audience attendees and audience attendees who are former contestants on the show. You guys really help make the engagement and make it a lot of fun, and your banter and your comments really, really add to the show. So thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun, and we are going to be back in the fall with a different format, equally engaging, equally as fun.